Hello, it is day 8 of Poemvember 2022, where we write one poem a day, and delight in the pleasure of doing so. If it ever gets to a point where it's painful, then the challenge of writing a poem a day should be put aside, okay? Um, Also, happy lunar eclipse, right? Lunar eclipse. Um, Today's poet inspirer is Frank O'Hara, who I consider my first date poet, which was a really great question I was asked recently is this question, which is when you're on a first date with someone or you first meet someone or whatever, and they find out you're a writer, a poet, who do you say is a poet that you would consider your favorite or would want other people to read to get to know you better? I always say Frank O'Hara for many reasons, mostly because he's delightfully, um, hmm, what's the opposite of misanthropic? I think that maybe I need to spend more time with his work recently because I should know the opposite of misanthropic, and he would be able to tell me. So when I read his writing, I just feel like there's an inherent hope in it, and there's humor. I feel like he's talking straight to me. I really love him. And then, yeah, there's Otto. He's bopping around the background. My dog. He's an angel. So today's poem by Frank O'Hara was hard to choose. And I may regret choosing one of his longer works, but I chose Meditations in an Emergency, which I believe to be one of the 3 or 4 poems that made me want to be a poet. So there's many reasons why I wanted you to read it as well and experience it. I'm going to, like I did in the last video, share my screen so we can read the words while I'm speaking them. This poem is everywhere on the internet, but Poetry Foundation has it published in full, and then you can see at the bottom where it was first copywritten. Okay. Meditations in an Emergency by Frank O'Hara. Am I to become profligate as if I were a blonde, or religious as if I were French? Each time my heart is broken, it makes me feel more adventurous. And how the same names keep recurring on that interminable list. But one of these days, there'll be nothing left with which to venture forth. Why should I share you? Why don't you get rid of someone else for a change? I am the least difficult of men. All I want is boundless love. Even trees understand me. Good heavens, I lie under them too, don't I? I'm just like a pile of leaves. However, I have never clogged myself with the praises of pastoral life, nor with nostalgia for an innocent past of perverted acts and pastures. No, one need never leave the confines of New York to get all the greenery one wishes. I can't even enjoy a blade of grass unless I know there's a subway handy, or a record store, or some other sign that people do not totally regret life. It is more important to affirm the least sincere. The clouds get enough attention as it is, and even they continue to pass. Do they know what they're missing? My eyes are vague blue like the sky and change all the time. They are indiscriminate but fleeting, entirely specific and disloyal, so that no one trusts me. I'm always looking away, or again at something after it has given me up. It makes me restless, and that makes me unhappy, but I cannot keep them still. If only I had gray, green, black, brown, yellow eyes. I would stay at home and do something. It's not that I'm curious. On the contrary, I am bored, but it's my duty to be attentive. I am needed by things as the sky must be above the earth. And lately, so great has their anxiety become, I can spare myself little sleep. Now there is only one man I love to kiss when he is unshaven. Heterosexuality, you are inexorably approaching. How discourage her? Saint Serapion, I wrap myself in the robes of your whiteness, which is like midnight in Dostoevsky. How am I to become a legend, my dear? I've tried love, but that hides you in the bosom of another, and I'm always springing forth from it like the lotus, the ecstasy of always bursting forth. But one must not be distracted by it, or like a hyacinth, to keep the filth of life away. Yes, there, even in the heart, where the filth is pumped in courses and slanders and pollutes and determines. I will my will, though I may become famous for a mysterious vacancy in that department, that greenhouse. Destroy yourself if you don't know. It is easy to be beautiful. It is difficult to appear so. I admire you, beloved, for the trap you've set. It's like a final chapter no one reads because the plot is over. Fanny Braun is run away, scampered off with a cornet of horse. I do love that little minx and hope she may be happy, though she has vexed me with this exploit a little too. Poor Sally Chichinya, or FB as we used to call her, I wish she had a good whipping and 10,000 pounds. Mrs. Thrale. I've got to get out of here. I choose a piece of shawl and my dirtiest suntans. I'll be back. I'll reemerge, defeated, from the valley. You don't want me to go where you go, so I go where you don't want me to. It's only afternoon. There's a lot ahead. There won't be any mail downstairs. Turning, I spit in the lock, and the knob turns. For prompt number 1, I'd like you to locate 2 conflicting emotions you feel when you think about yourself. Write these contradictions together without the need to choose a side. And then I'd like you to try this practice with the following series. Locate 2 conflicting actions you make in your daily life. Locate 2 conflicting things you say to other people. Locate 2 conflicting emotions you feel about a significant other. Then write the poem that allows space for all of these contradictions together. Prompt number 2 is a combination of erasure poetry and palimpsestic writing. So step 1 is to copy and paste the text from Meditations in an Emergency and delete words and phrases as your intuition calls you to. You have a link in the description below for the text Poetry Foundation. Then step 2 is to treat this as a palimpsestic writing exercise and use the white space around the words that remain and write in and around these words. Palimpsestic writing is where you write over a text that's already there. And I'd like you to imagine that you are handwriting words around the printed text that has been partially destroyed through many, many years. Prompt number 3 is to consider this poem as an example of a meditative poem, a poem in which the writer allows unrevised access to the flow of their thoughts, and also a type of dramatic monologue, where we witness the character or speaker convey the conflict inside of them. Your prompt for number 3 is to write a prompt as if you were a character alone on the stage, addressing the audience or the room in a dramatic monologue. Think of a dramatic monologue as a way to present two or more possible paths of action you or your character are about to take in a play. Let the audience in on your decision and your thought process and the emotions that are around it. Okay. Coming up tomorrow for November 9th's Poet Inspirer is Robin Makler, a poet that I hold in really high regard. So I highly encourage you to check out that video tomorrow. And then after that, we have Natalie Diaz on the 10th, Brenda Cardenas on the 11th, and Michelle Kotler on the 13th, or the 12th. And I did not introduce who I am. I am KP Kaszubowski. I am a poet, a filmmaker, and a theater maker, and also the guide of the Labyrinth, which is a growing resource library of videos and prompts and otherwise resources for writers who want to treat their writing as a practice and not merely a means to an end. I love you. Cool. Oh, and if you want to join our private Discord community where we share poems and prompts together, please message me and I'll give you the invite link for that. Have a good day. Happy eclipse. We are doing it and we are good at doing it. It can be anything. Should be anything. Bye.